G'day guys, so I'm joined here with Jorika from South Africa. We've spent the week travelling through WA, South Australia, Tasmania, and here we are in Warragul in southern Victoria. And so Jorika's been talking about the role of nutrition in tree fruit production and the ways that things can and can't assist. So I guess the first question I'd have for Jorika is, how often should people be soil and leaf testing and when in the year?
Okay, I can just give you the answer according to what I know, and that is based on my South African background. So what we normally do is we take leaf samples of each block, or even the difference in the blocks. If there's a part that's growing more vigorous or a part that's growing more poorly, then we take a different leaf sample for that part. And then that will be in the end of January, and we do that yearly. That's basically your exam of what you did for your tree. And then soil samples we do at 2 times basically before soil preparation if you do a new orchard, and then we do it in every 3 years, and then your lime program will be based on a 3-year continuous program.
What are some of the tactics that people can use to increase their soil organic matter?
So what we will typically do is just build on the organic matter around the roots. So we'll take all the prunings, just leave them on the ground. Your leaves that fall at the end of the autumn, that helps put back some nitrogen into the soil. And then yes, there's a lot you can do. You can help the soil by putting on wood chips or mulch, or that's what we do in South Africa. But I guess here you can also just, if you use some compost, it's just good to have a analysis that you don't put too salty mixture on your soil. But everything basically can be put on the soil to help the organic matter and the biological life in the soil.
What is the role of calcium, and how exactly do we get bitter pit, and what can we do about it? What's a South African typical story look like during the season?
Yeah, so first of all, the bitter pit itself happens when the calcium is deficient inside the middle lamella, that is the part between your cell walls. So it's basically like the cells must be stick together with a protein-based pectin. So the calcium helps doing that sticky part basically to keep the fruit firm. So it's a calcium-related disorder, but it's not that much that it's just calcium playing a role. So yes, you have to try and get as much calcium in the fruit, and that you can do by just testing your soil's nutritional status, your leaf status, looking at your tree. But there's a lot to take in account. For instance, the vigor of the tree. If you have too much vigor, it can also relate to bitter pit. If you have poor growth, it can relate to bitter pit. If you have soils that are not good drained, then the uptake of elements is not good. So basically in South Africa, we call it a 31 bitter pit factor symptoms that can have a calcium-related disorder.
So it's a complex issue in bitter pit. Just on potassium and calcium, what's the relationship? You know, if calcium sprays and altering the soil aren't working, what are some of our other options with some of the other elements?
Elements, they just need to be in balance with each other. There's a chemical chart called the Mulder's chart. It's a very old chart that shows you the antagonism and synergism of elements to each other. For instance, boron, we know, helps the mobility of calcium, so we try to give our trees enough boron. And then in terms of calcium and magnesium, because they are such large elements, they are the direct competitors to the calcium element. So we try and have calcium given to the soil and the leaves, and then on the other hand we try and have enough potassium for fruit size, but just at the right times to have the balance with calcium. But you know, there's a lot of new technology, and I think to have an open mind and try everything. There's fruit growth monitoring, there's soil water monitors, there is you know, like infrared camera digital images that you can use. So the quicker you can see a problem, the quicker you can respond to that. So I think that is the message, to just stay on top of things.